Africa, a land of growth, rhythm, and resilience.
Where every thread of the fabric tells a story.
Every beat of the drum echoes heritage.
And every voice carries the soul of generation.
We are Africa, bold, beautiful, and timeless. At Some TV, we don't just tell African stories.
We celebrate it in every color, sound, and tradition.
From the past that shaped us
to the future we proudly define.
Some TV, Africa, seen, heard, celebrated. Some TV, cause of the nation. Africa, a land of growth, rhythm.
As a young teenage girl, campus lady, or young adult, do you have questions in your mind that are unanswered? Or do you feel like meeting or talking to someone that will be able to answer them? I have a good news for you. The Deeper Life Bible Church Women Ministry Jalingo has decided to bring up a special program for the girl child. The theme is The Polish Daughters. This program will be coming up on the 29th of November 2025. Time is 10 a.m. Venue, Deeper Life Bible Church, Mile 6 Bypass, Jalingo, Taraba State, featuring talk, symposium, interactive sessions like question and answers, character stories, variety, etc. Come expecting, go rejoicing.
Good afternoon and welcome to Some TV World News. I am Moses Peter. Here are the major stories making headlines around the world. Miss Universe co-owner faces arrest warrant. A Thai court has issued an arrest warrant for Jakapon Jagrajumati, co-owner of the Miss Universe organization, over alleged fraud worth $930,000. The warrant stems from a lawsuit filed by businessman Rawiwa Maschamadol, who claims he lost 30 million baht after purchasing JKN Global Group bonds in 2023. Jakafon and JKN are accused of misleading Maschamadol on the investment's viability. JKN, which bought Miss Universe from IMG in 2022, has been in financial crisis since defaulting on bond payments last year. The company entered rehabilitation proceedings in 2024, declaring roughly 3 billion baht in debt. Jagapong stepped down from all executive posts in June after the Securities and Exchange Commission accused her of falsifying 2023 financial records. Her location is currently unknown, and she did not attend the Miss Universe pageant in Bangkok earlier this month. The Miss Universe organization has stated that the legal case is unrelated to its operations. A Malaysian lawmaker's comment suggesting Sambahans can be won over with Gardenia bread has sparked outrage ahead of the November 29 state election. Kedan Assemblyman Mansour Zakaria made the remark on November 12, stating that securing support in Sabah was simple. Just give them Gardenian bread. The comment has been met with widespread anger, with many Sabahans feeling it reinforces perceptions that West Malaysian politicians view them as unsophisticated and easily swayed by handouts. The controversy has reignited long-standing grievances about autonomy, resource control, and federal oversight dating back to Sabah's entry into Malaysia in 1963. Sabah Marisan Nasional chief Bong Mokhtar Radin condemned the remark as insulting and divisive, calling on voters to reject parties that cause interstate racial disunity. Mansour has apologized, but the backlash threatens to undermine Perikatan Nasional's campaign. The incident highlights the delicate political dynamics between Peninsular Malaysia and East Malaysian states, where grievances over resource distribution and federal oversight continue to influence voting patterns. The election is seen as a crucial test of Sabah's desire for greater autonomy and respect. South African women are taking matters into their own hands amid a surge in gender-based violence, with many opting for firearm training as a means of self-protection. According to the Human Science Research Council, over 33% of South African women have experienced physical violence, and around 9.8% have suffered sexual violence. This alarming trend has prompted initiatives like Girls on Fire, founded by Gun Owners South Africa, which provides firearm introduction sessions and emphasizes legal knowledge, situational awareness, and safe weapon handling. The decision to arm themselves stems from the belief that police response times are slow and attackers often strike when law enforcement is absent. As one instructor noted, a firearm coupled with the right mindset can be an effective means of protection. However, experts warn that having guns in households, particularly in intimate partner scenarios, poses significant risks. Research shows legal guns are often used in femicides, and there is a correlation between increased gun licensing and rising gun-related femicides. Women in South Africa are demanding action, staging silent protests, and planning to halt economic activity for 15 minutes to highlight the government's failure to tackle GBV. Lebanon and Cyprus have signed a maritime demarcation deal, paving the way for potential offshore gas field exploration and energy cooperation in the Mediterranean. The agreement was signed by Lebanese President Joseph Aoun and Cypriot President Nikos Christodoulidis at Lebanon's presidential palace, marking a significant step in deepening cooperation between the two countries and the European Union. The deal concludes an issue pending since 2007, with Cyprus and Lebanon having reached a preliminary agreement on mapping their offshore maritime zones. However, ratification by the Lebanese parliament was delayed. Lebanese Energy Minister Joseph Sardin visited Cyprus last month to discuss energy cooperation, following the Lebanese cabinet's endorsement of the deal defining the two countries' sea borders. Lebanon hopes offshore gas and oil discoveries will help generate state revenues and economic activity, reversing a 2019 financial collapse that worsened power shortages. Although there have been no commercially viable finds in Lebanon's offshore blocks, the agreement opens up possibilities for future exploration and cooperation. This deal leaves Syria as the final country with which Lebanon has yet to delineate its sea border. Israel has launched a new military operation in northern West Bank targeting the city of Tubas. The operation, carried out with police and intelligence forces, began early Wednesday morning, with Israeli forces establishing positions across several neighborhoods and conducting arrests. Tubas Governor Ahmed Al-Hassad stated that the incursion is expected to last several days, with residents forced to leave their homes and Israeli forces commandeering rooftops of buildings. The Israeli military has been targeting Palestinian militancy in the West Bank, where hundreds of thousands of Israeli settlers live among 2.7 million Palestinians. Hamas has condemned the operation, calling for international intervention to stop it. The assault on Tubas appears to be an extension of a military operation launched in January in the northern West Bank city of Jenin. The operation has sparked concerns of human rights abuses, with Human Rights Watch accusing Israel of war crimes and crimes against humanity over forced expulsions. Israel denies committing such crimes. The West Bank has seen escalating violence with Israeli settlers carrying out attacks on Palestinian communities and Israeli forces maintaining a heavy presence in some cities. The European Union is accelerating efforts to agree on using frozen Russian assets to support Ukraine with a draft proposal expected this week. The plan involves lending 140 billion euros, which equates to $162 billion in frozen Russian sovereign assets to Ukraine for defense and budget needs, with repayments contingent on Russia's war reparations. EU leaders are trying to address Belgium's concerns as 185 billion euros of the assets are held in Belgium and ensure other countries contribute to the scheme. The EU's urgency is partly driven by a US-backed plan that proposes investing $100 billion of frozen Russian funds in Ukraine's reconstruction, with the US receiving 50% of profits. European leaders see this plan as favoring Moscow and are pushing for an EU-led solution. The Commission's proposal aims to address Belgium's concerns, including potential Russian lawsuits and guarantees for financial fallout. EU leaders will discuss the plan on December 18, with political will being a key factor in reaching an agreement. The frozen assets are held in various countries, including France, Luxembourg, and the US, and Belgium wants other countries to contribute to the scheme. The EU aims to support Ukraine's defense and financial needs in 2026 and 2027. Kremlin aide Yuri Yushakov has confirmed he will discuss a leaked phone call with US Presidential Envoy Steve Witkoff. The call, reportedly involving discussions on a Ukraine ceasefire plan, was described by Yushakov as unacceptable and likely leaked to hinder talks. He stated some leaked information was fake and declined further comments, citing confidentiality. Witkoff allegedly advised Putin to raise the ceasefire plan with Trump during their meeting. He also scheduled a visit to Moscow next week to meet President Vladimir Putin amidst ongoing Ukraine peace negotiations. Excuse me. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz stated that Russian President Vladimir Putin has no viable exit strategy from the Ukraine war. Merz emphasized that any agreement to end the war must be negotiated with the consent of Ukraine and European allies, not just between great powers. Merz made these comments in the Bundestag lower house of parliament, stressing that Ukraine is a sovereign nation with its own interests and values, not a pawn to be used in negotiations. Ukrainian President Zelensky has expressed readiness to discuss a US-backed framework for ending the war with Russia and is set to hold talks with US President Donald Trump. Germany plans to increase its financial aid to Ukraine to 11.5 billion euros, which is equivalent to $13.31 billion in the 2026 budget, up from 8.5 billion euros previously planned. The country also intends to utilize frozen Russian assets to support Ukraine. Moving on to Belgium. Belgium is currently experiencing significant disruptions as the third and final day of a national strike takes hold. The strike, organized by the country's main unions, has grounded most flights at Brussels airport and disrupted public transport. Brussels Airport has cancelled all departing flights and 110 of its 203 planned incoming flights, while Charleroi Airport also expects significant disruptions due to staff shortages. The strike is a protest against the coalition government's proposed pension and labor market reforms. Demonstrators argue that the government's budget message is harsh requiring people to work longer and harder for less security regarding pensions, health, and purchasing power. A protest is planned in Brussels for Wednesday afternoon following a similar demonstration in October that drew about 80,000 participants. Despite the government reaching an agreement on next year's budget on Monday, the strike continues. The budget includes a new tax on banks and tax increases on airplane tickets and natural gas, aiming to lower the government deficit by 9.2 billion euros, which is equal to $10.6 billion by 2029. The budget deficit is set to hit 4.5% of gross domestic product this year, with debt at 104.7% of GDP, exceeding EU budget rules. Jakarta has surpassed Tokyo as the world's most populous city, with nearly 42 million residents, according to the United Nations. Tokyo, which held the top spot for decades, has slipped to third place, while Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh, has risen to second place with a population of almost 37 million. The shift highlights the rapid population expansion in parts of South and Southeast Asia, where cities are growing and at unprecedented rates. The number of megacities defined as having populations exceeding 10 million has quadrupled from just 8 in 1975 to 33 in 2025, with the majority concentrated in Asia. Dhaka is projected to become the world's largest urban center by 2050, with over 52 million inhabitants, narrowly edging out Jakarta. Tokyo, meanwhile, is expected to drop to seventh place, overshaken by rapidly expanding cities such as Shanghai and New Delhi. Tunisia's President Kais Saied has summoned the EU ambassador to protest a meeting between the EU official and the head of a powerful union, citing a diplomatic breach. The incident highlights growing tensions between Russia's leadership and international partners over the country's handling of civil society and opposition groups. The EU ambassador, Giuseppe Perron, met with UGTT leader Nureddin Tambobi on Monday, praising the union's Nobel Peace Prize-winning role in 2015 and stressing continued cooperation with Tunisia's civil society. However, Said's government has launched a crackdown on civil society, suspending groups like Democratic Women, Nawat Journalists, and the Economic and Social Forum. The UGTT, with 1 million members, has voiced complaints about restrictions on trade union rights and threatened a nationwide strike in defense of these rights. The EU, Tunisia's largest trading partner, has seen relations deteriorate since Said seized power in 2021 and began ruling by decrees, a move the opposition calls a coup. Medical charity Medicines Sans Frontieres has withdrawn its staff from a hospital in Darfur, Sudan, after a stretcher bearer was shot dead. The victim, who worked for Sudan's health ministry, was killed outside Zalengi Hospital on November 18, with 4 others wounded in the incident. The hospital, located in central Darfur State, is controlled by the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces and is away from the conflict front lines with Sudan's army. MSF operates an emergency room, provides surgery, newborn care, and treats measles and cholera outbreaks at the facility. MSF's emergency coordinator in Darfur, Miriam Larossi, stated that their teams won't resume humanitarian activities until the SRF guarantees safe conditions for staff and patients. RSF denies harming civilians, saying those responsible for abuses will be held accountable. This incident follows a previous suspension in August due to a grenade explosion. Moving on to Uganda, the Ugandan opposition presidential candidate Bobi Wine's party says over 300 supporters and officials have been detained since campaigning began last month. The arrests, including scores in the capital Kampala, are seen as attempts to deter and intimidate supporters, according to party spokesperson Joel Senyonyi. Bobi Wine, challenging 81-year-old President Yoweri Museveni for the second time, claims Museveni won the last election through rigging tactics. Museveni's government denies these accusations, and police have not responded to Reuters' request for comments on the detentions. Security forces used tear gas and water cannon to disperse Wine supporters at a rally in Kampala, with video showing police using pepper spray and beating supporters. Police say they detained 7 people after clashes, accusing them of throwing stones and injuring officers. A plane carrying food aid crashed in South Sudan's Unity State yesterday, killing all 3 crew members on board. The aircraft, operated by Nari Air, was transporting 2 tons of supplies from the capital Juba to people displaced by floods. The crash occurred around 20 kilometers outside Lear airstrip in the oil-rich Unity State, Lear County, near the border with Sudan at around 8 a.m. local time. Samaritan's Purse Deputy Director in South Sudan, Biriam Ray, confirmed the death, stating, "Our team has reached the crash site, and it is with deep sadness that I share the confirmation that all 3 crew members have passed away." The cause of the crash is currently unknown, and Nari Air has not responded to requests for comment. The aircraft make and model have not been disclosed. Ethiopia has launched construction on East Africa's largest railway training facility in Bishongtu, about an hour from Addis Ababa. The Ethiopian Railways Corporation believes this project will transform the country's railway sector through research and technology development. Spanning 62 hectares, the center will feature classrooms, engineering labs, workshops, and an 800-meter practical training track. Once operational, the academic will train thousands of Ethiopians annually in railway operations, safety, locomotive maintenance, and signaling systems. Over 2,800 Ethiopians have already been trained abroad for the Addis Ababa-Djibouti Railway, and this academic will bring that training back home, cutting costs and strengthening local expertise. The project aims to position Ethiopia as East Africa's railway hub, creating job opportunities for instructors, administrators, and machine operators. Transport and Logistics Minister Alemu Sime stated that the Railway Academic will provide efficient transportation services, connecting major development centers and neighboring countries. Prosecutors at the International Criminal Court (ICC) have accused Mohamed Said Abdelkani, a suspected Seleka militia leader in the Central African Republic, of overseeing prison abuse over a decade ago. According to prosecutors, Kani ran a prison where suspected supporters of then-President Francois Bozize were beaten and tortured. Deputy Prosecutor Mame Madiaye Niang stated that documents and witness testimony showed Kani had full control over victims held in inhumane conditions and personally took part in the abuse. The victims were mostly Christians arrested arbitrarily for reasons of politics, ethnicity, religion, or gender. Kani has denied 7 charges of war crimes and crimes against humanity. His defense will present their closing arguments later this week. The ICC has been investigating the violence in the Central African Republic since May 2014 and has convicted 2 anti-Balaka leaders, but Kani is the first alleged Seleka member on trial. Kremlin aide Yuri Ushakov has confirmed he will discuss a leaked photo call with U.S. President envoy Steve Witkoff. The call, reportedly involving discussions on a Ukraine ceasefire plan, was described as unacceptable and likely leaked to hinder talks. He stated some leaked information was fake and declined further comment, citing confidentiality. He also allegedly advised Putin to raise the ceasefire plan with Trump during their meeting. Witkoff is scheduled to visit Moscow next week to meet President Vladimir Putin amid ongoing Ukraine peace negotiation. That's all we have for you on Some TV World News. I am Moses Peter. Thank you for watching and do stay with us for more updates.